Hey guys, so welcome back to the letter. Let's continue on here with Luke's chapter. Kylie's left us a wonderful drawing of Takako, which we correctly figured out was going to be the ghost. Here we go. A breath. That isn't mine. That has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see someone, anyone, but nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter. Sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stop towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see someone with the help dallying about idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they could slack off in their duties without the head butler around and with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see, with a cursory glance at the very least. I roam around, looking for near impossible hiding places. And still, I'm all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter. That accursed laughter echoing about in the room, in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles in my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright, when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do then is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say, memories, not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold, I'm muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. Over and over it hurts. The pain, however, is not overbearing or blinding. Alright, let's take a moment to analyze this. We've got Lady Charlotte Ermengarde there, holding what looks to be the ghost, or we're just going to call her Takako now. That's the only name we have for her. And that looks like the Lord of the House, or, you know, Luke Wright. So clearly, it looks like Lady Charlotte has betrayed the Lord of the House and ended up killing him. Maybe he had an affair with the maid, is my theory. I don't quite know. I suppose we'll find out soon enough. There's the littlest of cuts and the bruising of flesh by blunt force. It dribbles down my cheeks and my mouth. There's a pounding in my head. It's not blinding, but it makes it all starker. Everything hurts.
Please, milady, he need not suffer. I beg of you, have mercy. You already have me to do as you please. He deserves none of this.
Why is this happening?
Silence, before I cut out that impertinent tongue of yours and feed it to the dogs. You will watch and you will learn what happens when I am displeased.
What have I done to deserve this? One after the other they come at me. An unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that's not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers. The voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though one can only call them a lord and lady, going by their clothes. What's he holding in his hand? Is that the letter? And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there. His face is familiar, though. In fact, they both are, but I can't quite place why. Maybe it's the paintings in the house, Luke. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stay on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage. The honeymoon years, they call it. We were happy then, too. All smiles and her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. I wished we could go on that way, even with all that I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I couldn't afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew who I really am. I had to harden my heart when I have business, But it hadn't always been so easy to just switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. Ask what in the bloody hell they're doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. There's a horrid feeling of envy. And though I have long accepted that I'm a jealous person by nature, I've never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hana and I... Envy turned into anger. Anger for something I couldn't have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this may not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make this all up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then, I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage, and I regret looking away. That woman from the garden stands beside me. Wow. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. I hear everything in me screams to run, but something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamour of their voices fill the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand here, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until the bullocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind. Our kind. You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it's nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison, and echoing over in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once, fleetingly, like a new memory having burned itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't...
The welcomes turn into screams at my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it's my duty to stay, telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense into this hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our lord. My prince.
At her words, there's a compulsion to stay. Then my heart races in my chest. The fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two. Oh, you finally returned to us. The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she has safety. She's home and heart. We've been waiting for so long. But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back, I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run! Out of the ballroom. Oh my god. What's going on? Luke! Luke's having it hardest of all. Alone, Luke heard voices coming from the nearby ballroom. When he decided to investigate, he was assaulted by memories not of his own. And at the center of it all is the same woman who appeared before him the day before. Out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping and praying to the god I scorn that I didn't pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion too, if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide with a body much larger than mine and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I looked up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colourful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being then, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here!
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Just like Isabella back in chapter 1.
Oh, fuck off, you wanker! Just help me up!
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him into the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright. And this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so that the house is in a flurry of activity. He lets go of me then, with the knowledge that I'm not going to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says it as a matter of fact, in a tone that brook no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. The two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Not until we get inside. What's going on? Johann's eyes scan the room wildly, a look of dread on his usually stoic face. And I don't understand for a moment. Looking around the bedroom, it's empty. But then I realize...
Where's Hannah? She came home with you from the hospital, didn't she?
She's supposed to be here. I sent one of the maids to accompany her here, to let her rest.
Oh god. I feel the color drain from my face when he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
I'm not staying in here while Hannah stays out there.
One of the guards will find her and bring her here.
And what if they don't? What if that woman gets to her first? What if she already has her?
That's not possible.
You can't promise that.
There's no second thought as I reach under the side of my bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we are both unarmed. But with this, I could even the field. Or at least a turn from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for Hannah. And you're either with me or you aren't.
That explains why Johans was looking for Hannah. And
I'm
ran
not
to
risking
look.
Hannah, and I'm not leaving her alone.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. One that somehow I'm losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You are in no proper state to go looking for anyone. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay. Where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one person to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he's grown to care for Hannah at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I'd trust him with her safety over any servant in this house. So, an acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shirokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one missing woman in this house. 2 hours. Any more than that, and I'm going out there.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one. There's a reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And the knife?
The knife stays.
Very well.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. To go and find Ashton and get tased, as we find out later on. Damn, so this is all going on in the lead up to the November 1st finale. Bumping into Luke after his flight from the ballroom, Johans quickly ushered the paranoid man to his room while the house's security looked for the trespasser, only to be greeted by a room devoid of Hannah, who was supposed to have arrived with the butler. For a moment, I can still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs, and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. and that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Hana will be safe too. Shroken will find her, and when I wake, she'll be here. It doesn't take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a time long gone. I wonder, is he actually descended from the Lord?
Who are you? Stay away!
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon. Here we go. Whew, finally caught up. Yet in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from the shadows lurking in the dark, rousing a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead. No matter my aversion with the words they murmur in my ears or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world, choosing to linger in the pits of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into the unknown depths. Somehow, even if it might mean I may never open my eyes, I allow them.
You do not belong there, my prince.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie and the stress of finding an intruder in my own home, I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within a span of a few hours, you know. As gracious a host and a person I am, my patience has its limits too. Although there's still that problem with Hana. I haven't forgotten that, of course, but that's why I hired Shroken. He's competent enough. He won't even last a day in my service if he's any less than those half-wits who think they can deceive me with sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of that little problem with Hana, while I... Hana?
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is.
Where you belong for the blood we share. Come back to us. How long has it been since? Johans has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now. Alright?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? As it always has been the case. Uh-oh. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine filtering through the curtains, only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. I must have left it open earlier before dozing off. The carpet and the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hana's going to be so cross when she sees this. Not that it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's this power outage we should be minding first. With the intruder still at large, steering through the darkness might be far more fatal than multiple stab wounds or a gunshot to the chest.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's this storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to weather it in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groans of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johans! Has someone been sent to check the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johans?
Silence.
Shroken! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really a wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It's only been a few hours after midnight, if the time on my wristwatch is anything to go by. Unless I've forgotten to change it again after that last trip overseas a month ago. Though the delay is understandable, if he went looking for Hana as he promised. But bloody hell, my safety's also at stake here. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try and adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket and with footwear finally on, I make for the door. although in haste, I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. On one of my drawers, underneath the clutter I've yet to organize, the muzzle of a gun peeks out. Hannah's never openly commented my possession of it, but I know she doesn't approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in this nation. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together, otherwise she would have already had it thrown out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now. Without second thought, I seize it, sending the stuff piled above it into the floor. Whatever. I'll get to it later. This blackout problem should be resolved first. Right next to my missing security detail, as it turns out.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
There were two, weren't there? Shrocken had 2 blokes posted to stand guard for the night. I might be panicking for a bit earlier, but I'm quite sure I haven't gone delusional yet. What, did both of them decide to take a break? Because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them?
Damn nitwits.
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, and even less in a peaceful city like Luxborn, but bollocks. There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited, who may or may not want to put a knife in my back. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? Fairly certain Shrocken wouldn't just enlist their help for this power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt the man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands, after all. He knows what I'm capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So where then? Only my footsteps echo along dark passage, and I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and rich to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another, especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. This is when he catches up with Ashton. I'm suspecting. Flip, flip, flip. Luke Wright woke up to a storm raging outside, and with the whole house eerily quiet. Power was still off and his butler was nowhere to be found, even when called. Taking his gun with him, he went out to investigate, and in the foyer of his own home. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms. Recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. And if one of this wog saunters in on this, I'm not surprised too. But Lily the estate agent? She doesn't seem the sort. Not to mention Mint. Hannah trusted her. I trusted her to be a professional at the very least, for fuck's sake.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers, what is wrong with these people? Do they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hannah's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay
And it better be a good one.
for all the wrong made to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a real estate agent, an interior designer walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, its sound hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it, to be honest. Adds something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Great. Just as he's about to jump down from furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlour. What happened there? And did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's house? Loud.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
This must be when the shadow was always around him. My hands already moving before any rationale can stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter. He won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My finger on the trigger's more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him, but more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey trapped by his own recklessness.
And really, Lily, even you.
Sir, this isn't what you're thinking. Something's going on in this mansion.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
We're doing fine, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please, what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that. I just can't risk it. The thought of having dead bodies here, ones that I'm not even responsible for, they're the ones who trespassed. It's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my own, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is. Commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner and I'm a defense of my own home. I have the right to, I like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this, but I'm already high-strung and their presence doesn't help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. Take this one, for example. Despite the pride brimming in him, how he matches my glare with one of his own, he simply lowers his pistol after a long second, not in surrender. The tense set in his shoulders tells me as much, but the closest he can get to lowering his own ego, in favor of something I can't quite place. Interesting. Gotta admit, I'm almost disappointed.
As you should be, my lord.
I've expected him to hold until one of us shoots the other. Can't say it'll be more exciting that way. A bullet inside any part of my body isn't something I'd like to have on a bad day like today. Or any day, for that matter. But it'll surely be predictable of him. And I like predictable. They're the kinds of people who are the easiest to deal with, no matter the situation. With them, there's no second guessing what they'll do. He shoots, I shoot. One of us dies, the other walks away. Nothing complicated. Nothing requiring much brain power, just muscle memory and who's the better shooter. End of story. Yet here he is, dragging a deep breath in and setting aside the only thing protecting him. I can easily shoot him in this way, be done with this whole farce of a conversation. Instead, I find myself listening. A concession. For a person who, in another life, would have also become the person I am today, had his circumstances allowed it. Damn shame. We might have gotten along.
Listen, right, I need you to...
But alas.
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy. Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already. In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now. And you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
A meeting of two prideful blokes will never go well, whichever lifetime it is. And I can only laugh at his audacity, his lack of shame and fear, even facing the business end of my pistol.
You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
The best truth I can offer him. Not many people, those who have slighted me, in particular, live this long to see it.
And he should be grateful. You're a
Yes, especially when he has a lot to answer for. Preferably right now, because as generous as I've been so far, my patience has its limits. My amusement can only last for so long. In 2 steps, I'm standing in front of him, grabbing him by the collar and resting the cold muzzle of the eagle against his temple. Ashton!
Hey, now you two, I'm sure we can all talk about this first.
He'll end up a pretty smear on the wall this close.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the 2nd time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game. Did the NCA send you to apprehend me? Or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
And he knows it. Of course he does. Hitman or not, he's been trained, judging purely from his stance. But not many bother to be as cautious as him. One glimpse at my handgun's safety earlier is all it took for him to see I mean business. Similar. Too similar. We're too alike in so many little ways, it's funny. Down to the fact that he doesn't even flinch, no matter how heavy the threats in my words are. Even knowing how one flick of my finger on the trigger will be enough to end his sorry life. He should have caved in by now, started begging like so many others before him. Instead he throws more vitriol, adds more kindling to a fire already burning.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Igniting it further that I can't help but return to him with equal fervor. We don't need him, my love.
Why, you insolent!
We both decide to move in that moment, both our bodies tensing, each of us racing to get ahead of the other. However, before we can even get a head start, a voice unexpectedly rings above the chaos about to ensue.
Help me. Please.
I've always been cautious and careful, cutting off trouble's head before things can escalate if I'm able. That's why I deal with the likes of Harvey, Suarez, and Johans. For all who we are, for all the enemies the likes of us can make, such a thing has never happened before, because I do everything to make sure it doesn't happen. So to see Hana in danger, I don't quite know how to feel or what to do. Of all the times for there to be a hostage situation, if this is even one, why now? Good fucking God, what's going on here?